Welcome to Bookworms. I'm your host, Joe, and with me is our guest host, Becky.
Yay, I'm here.
She is under duress once again. So,
someone find him a friend.
Yes, I do need more friends that are willing to record. Anyone want to volunteer?
Ski Patrol, you're failing at this.
So, this is a bonus episode. This was an episode that I hadn't planned on doing, but I like this book, loved this book so much, I felt like I had to talk about it on air instead of just writing my medium that I was planning to write.
He didn't take notes, y'all.
I did not take notes.
Who knows how this is going to go?
Yeah, this might be really short or just mediocre in length. Who knows?
No comment.
Anyways, so the book we're going to talk about is The Last Traverse, Tragedy and Resilience in the Winter Whites by Ty Gagne.
So if anybody doesn't know, this is Joe's midlife crisis, his fourth one.
Fourth one?
Yeah.
Count them out.
Well, you said that after doing the ones in the summer, you're going to do the winter. So the winter ones will be your fourth one.
Oh, okay.
You're prepping. You're prepping for your next midlife crisis.
Yes, I am. I've been doing a lot of research, and I know how I want to die.
It's not me, y'all. It's not me.
You got Becky having existential crises now. So yes, this is about several hikers that went hiking in the White Mountains in winter. This is a true story. The author interviewed the survivor, the rescuers, the person that died, his family, and a bunch of their coworkers.
Okay, all I can think of right now is that Dolokhov Pass thing in Russia where they just randomly disappeared and maybe they ate one another. I forget.
I wouldn't know about the Russian one. Do you care to expound on that?
I don't know. They went hiking in the mountains somewhere in that godforsaken country.
Yeah, so the reason why this was written is because on Mount Washington and on Mount Lafayette, a lot of people die in the winter. A lot of people get hurt and die in the summer. But the author and the man that survived decided that it would be a good idea to write a book to help those that wish to do especially winter hiking, but any sort of hiking in the White Mountains, what they need to do to better prepare and survive going into this very dangerous area.
I could have made millions.
Oh, could you have?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. What's your great...
Don't go. Live to tell the tale. Stop at the bar and take a pretty picture. And you win.
See, that just doesn't sound like a whole lot of fun. Where's your sense of adventure, Becky?
Oh, I've seen those bars. That is the adventure.
In the Lincoln area?
Yes. I've seen some of those locals. That is an adventure.
Oh, come now. All those people are multimillionaires.
Doesn't mean that I want to spend winter near them.
Yeah, so the reason why so many people die hiking these is because when people think of New England mountains, they compare them to the out west mountains or the Alps or the Himalayas.
Wait, what? Really?
Yeah.
How?
By saying these are tiny and easy and nothing burgers.
Nothing burgers?
Yeah.
Is that a SpongeBob thing? Where is that coming from? Nothing burger.
You've never heard nothing burger before?
No. Is that a New England colloquialism?
I thought that was just an everybody colloquialism.
You're a different child.
Anyways. They think these mountains are supposed to be easy because they are ranging between 3,000 and 6,500 feet. Mount Washington being the tallest. And there's this big thing about hiking the 48 4,000-foot mountains in New Hampshire that I am currently working through.
Midlife number 3.
Yeah. What's number 2?
I'm not going there.
Yeah. Okay, where was I?
You're on a mountain.
Yeah, on a mountain.
That the people think is easy peasy, lemon squeezy, because it's not the Himalayas.
Yeah, not the Rockies. But what they fail to understand is that this is the worst weather in the world, or what's considered to be the worst weather in the world because of how fast it can change, how hard the wind can go, and how cold it can get. And then on top of it, the mountains, while they don't have the elevation of, say, the Rockies or Mount Everest, they are challenging hikes, to say the least. They are a lot of rock scrambles, a lot of bouldering, a lot of just roots and tripping hazards and narrow paths that are easy to lose.
It's like they're the winding stair in The Lord of the Rings.
Pretty much. And, it's one of those deals where if you're not prepared, you're going to get in a lot of trouble. And a lot of people do these things ill-equipped to be able to do them. They're out of shape. They're not wearing proper footwear. They don't have enough water, what have you. Like when I did Washington, I carried 3 extra layers in my bag that I didn't think I would need because at the base of the mountain, it was, 80 degrees, 85 degrees that day?
Which time?
The time I summited Mount Washington.
Haven't you done it a lot?
Just the one time. I've gone around it a couple times.
You've gone around it. I don't know. I take a train to the top. I don't know.
It was about 80, 85 degrees. At the top, it was like 45 degrees. And it was cloudy and drizzly.
It's always windy when I'm up there.
Sounds like a you problem. Mount Washington has the recorded fastest wind in the world, or at least it did. I think it was around 200 miles an hour, over 200 miles an hour. What a lot of people don't realize is that Lafayette, Lincoln, Little Haystack, which is two of the first two there are 48, part of the 48. The third one doesn't have a prominent enough peak, but it's also over 4,000 feet. They get the same weather, and they get it first. They just don't have a weather station at the top because there's not enough space to put one up there. But basically what they say is whatever Mount Washington is getting for weather, they've had it 15 minutes after Lafayette and Lincoln had it. And what makes it so bad, especially for the winds, is there's like a natural funnel that pushes all the winds and speeds it up. And as we'll see here, it's in this book, they're getting 90 mile an hour gusts with steady 70 mile an hour winds. And it's enough to pick up a full-grown adult man.
Oklahoma, where the wind comes sweeping down. Oh, wrong state.
So, and that said, so you can have crazy weather. In this weather, in this book, they went from just cold and cloudy to full-on blizzard in a drop of 20 degrees in 15 minutes.
No, thank you.
And they got basically trapped at the top.
My idea, again, is so much better.
So let's get into it. So this is a true accounting. 2 men wanted to do a winter hike. They're avid outdoorsmen. They worked for a bus company that covers most of New England. Very popular guys.
Is it Peter Pan?
Let's see. We have, what are their names? And so we're going to be, we'll focus mostly on the 2 men hiking, but there are a whole plethora of people that ended up saving the one man's life and getting the other man off the mountain, even though they were too late. And said these guys basically had to hike it in the conditions that the 2 people got trapped in. So that you're talking, said waist deep snow and 70 mile an hour winds. It's negative 40 outside with the wind chills, negative 50 with the wind chills.
All right, what is our time frame here?
So these guys, so let me just get the names real quick. Yeah, Fred Fredrickson.
That's not nice.
I forget his first name was, his nickname is Fred. Jason Osborne. So Fred is the big time hiker. He's the guy that's going out doing these hikes in the winter. Jason, who was a more recent transplant, does a lot of skiing. He was skiing at Cannon the day before. This is around the time, or the week before, I should say, around the time of the Super Bowl. Weather turned, while they were skiing. He goes home, and his buddy Fred, who had been hiking the same trail that they're about to hike, said, "Hey, here's some pictures. It's a beautiful day before the weather turned. Why don't you come with me next time?" Jason, who's never done a winter hike, he's done plenty of summer hiking in the White Mountains for the last few years, says, "That sounds like a decent challenge. I'm willing to do it."
Nope. It's already just nope.
He goes during the week, he goes to the store and tries to buy a bunch of winter gear. The local stores are all basically sold out of the winter gear, so he's able to get some crampons, which is definitely good, but he can't get snowshoes. Gets a few extra layers for jackets and face guards, and he thinks he's good to go. Fred basically tells him what he needs to bring with him, and we don't have Fred's story. We don't know what Fred did and did not do for prepping other than what he had on him. But Jason never looked at what the weather was going to be. And one of the biggest things that you're supposed to do when you do one of these hikes is to look at the weather. And you're not looking at your local weather channel, which is New Hampshire News 9. You're definitely not looking at the Boston weather channels, who usually don't get past Concord. You are looking at the Mount Washington Weather Observatory weather, because they are the experts for that region. They have a website. They update it regularly. They're checking the weather, all their weather equipment hourly, and basically putting all that in, and they're giving very accurate forecasts for the White Mountains.
Okay, again, can I tell what's the time period that we're living in right now?
2009.
Okay, because that is important, like materials wise and whatnot.
Well, it is important, but at the same time, it said this stuff is all available at this time.
Right, but if it had been in the 70s, that would have been a very different
True.
material-wise. So time is important. Okay. Don't give me that look.
And Fred had been hiking the White Mountains since the 70s. So, again, the guy that's very, very good with the area. He's done this specific trail, which is the Franconia Ridge, at least a dozen times, if not dozens of times. And the weather for that day, morning, cloudy and cold, but doable. They had recent snow, but a few days before. But in the afternoon, incoming snowstorm with temperature drops and high winds reported to be coming. And they say that it's going to be coming in around between 3 and 5 p.m. Now, remember when I hiked it in the summer? Remember how long it took me to hike that loop? That was the first one I did.
That was the Cannon, No,
there's the one across from Cannon.
Oh, yeah. It was like 3 hours. I'm like, I'm not done at the beach. What are you talking about?
It was like done. 5 hours.
Not done at the beach.
It was 5.5 hours, which I did in the middle of summer. And I'm in decent shape, not great shape, but
midlife crisis number 2.
And I haven't done a lot of big mountain hiking. I've been doing a bunch of hiking down here in Massachusetts, which it's quite flat, really. Becky shaking her head.
Rude.
Becky came from Iowa, so her idea of flat is very different from my idea of flat.
Yeah, because things are actually flat out there.
Becky thought Iowa was hilly until she came out here.
No, well, yes. I've been to mountains, though. I had been to Alaska and Colorado.
I know what mountains were, but you thought Iowa was
Don't you have a
hilly.
mountain to go, like, rest in?
For the rest of my about to be short life. Anyways,
dumb ways to die.
So it took me about 5.5 hours. It's a 9.5 mile loop, and I did the reverse of what these guys did. I went up the.
You went up Bridle, didn't you?
Yeah, Bridle. Went up to top of Lafayette, crossed the ridge, and then went down. Was it Falling Waters or something like that?
Yeah.
These guys are going to go up Falling Waters, traverse to Little Haystack, traverse over to Lafayette, and go down. Fred thinks they're going to do it in 5.5 hours in the middle of January, end of January. Again, he can do that. He's got the thing. Jason is built a little bit heavier set than me, maybe about the same, but he's a slow hiker.
So it's like that time you were like, let's go hike Sunapee. And I was like, yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah,
and
just 4 hours, small hill.
4 hours later, I was contemplating how to dispose of you.
Yeah, it's amazing we are still together and I'm alive. Really, that should have been a warning sign, Becky. Red flag number 1.
Oh, that wouldn't have been the first red flag. Maybe that was just the beginning of your midlife crisis.
What do you mean? I've been hiking that mountain my whole life.
I rest my case. Old man. Anyway, so poor Fred has taken Cumberbund out, and he's not it. He is not the guy for this at this moment.
He is. He's not adequately prepared. Like, I've hiked Sunapee in the winter, going up the trail, and granted, I was not quite recovered from pneumonia when I did this, so I thought I was going to die. And luckily we were skiing down. The person I was hiking with, she had snowshoes. I did not, and it kicked my butt.
He has snowshoes now, though, y'all.
I do have snowshoes now. They were expensive. But so again, we don't know that if Fred knew what the incoming weather was, but he had planned 5.5 hours, which they would have beat the weather. Just barely, but they would have beat it. Problem number 2. They didn't tell anybody where they were going.
Can you just stop?
So they had one coworker or 2 coworkers that knew they were going to go hiking. They didn't know which days. They knew general area, but they didn't know. Fred's ex-wife knew he was going to go hiking, but had no idea of a timetable. So that's it. Again, remember, this is 2009. They have flip phones. I'm assuming they were flip phones. They left them in the car because they figured there's no service anyways.
But still, it's cardinal rule. Like, if you're going hiking, you tell somebody where you're going.
Yeah. That way, when I don't show up, you can be like, oh, I guess he's gone, and you can just kind of enjoy the rest of your time at the beach.
I can go back to the beach.
So these guys are, again, cell phones are new enough that it's not like nowadays where everyone keeps a phone on them 24/7. So that's not a major concern. A lot of times those batteries back then didn't last that long, especially with those kind of temperatures. Remember, it is 20 degrees outside, cloudy and kind of raw, and with winds going about 20 miles an hour when you get above the tree line.
See, none of that says fun. Bless them.
That's Becky's mean compliment. She says bless you, it means you're doing something stupid. Just FYI. So these guys go up. There's other people hiking. There was two major groups the day before which had packed the trail, which was really good for Jason Osborne. So he's not post-holing if he stays within the tracks.
Describe post-holing for people who might not know.
So it's basically you step out on the snow and you sink down
to
your knee, your hip.
I'm done.
Your chest, and then you take another step forward and that leg does it, and it's a lot of work. You're high stepping, swimming out of the snow. Have you ever gone swimming in snow, Becky?
See, again, the bar is really, really great.
It's a lot of work. It's not like swimming through water.
I will take my books and I will see you at the bar, warm and toasty.
So they're going up. There's 2 or 3 other, I think there's 5 other people on the mountain that day going up the way that they went. There's 2 couples and a lone person.
Oh gosh, there were couples?
Yes.
Okay. There's other things you can do, guys. There's other things you can do for a workout.
So all these people are ahead of Fred and Jason. They get up to Shining Rock where they're gonna have lunch, and one of the couples decides to turn around because they know that the weather's about to go bad. They're an older couple. They've done the hike a dozen times a year kind of thing. And it's like, yeah, we don't need to go up there. They mentioned to the Fred and Jason, hey, you guys, it's getting late. Don't stick around too long. And they're like, yeah, we're good. The younger couple made it to the top, go back down to Little Haystack, go back down, say, hey, how you guys doing? Just, be safe out there. And then the lone guy made it to the top, and he sees them at the tree line because they've continued because Jason got cold because he's a heavy sweater. So you're standing still, easy to get cold in the winter because all your layers are no longer effective because you sweat too hard. So he's trying to warm back up. He's doing everything right about warming up. But so the older guy sees them and says, hey, it's starting to snow. You might not, don't stick around here. And he's like, yeah, we're good. Don't worry. Okay. And he takes off. They all make it home safe. There were 3 or 4 pile-ups on that stretch of highway during that day because the roads got so bad so fast.
And that road sucks anyway. That road sucks ass.
Yeah.
He doesn't drive on that road. I just want to point this out. I have driven his ass everywhere up there. Except for like one mountain that he did with a buddy of his.
That's because you don't want to be trapped up there when I forget to give you the car keys and I take off and you're like, crap, now I'm stuck here for 5 to 8 hours.
Well, there's that too. But also...
You're like, I wanted to go to the beach. I am stuck at the base of a mountain with nothing to do and not enough books.
There's not enough books. Okay. I want to preface that I really don't want to speak ill of the dead, but... By 2009, Into Thin Air had come out.
Well, they're not at that elevation, so.
But still, like the book came out.
And Fred probably read it. I'm sure Jason had probably read it. These guys are avid readers, very intelligent people that have done their research and are very big into that community. I said they're what they did wrong in the beginning is not the end of the world. They're both essentially single men, and they're just like, yeah, who are we gonna tell? I mean, we got we're
Ghostbusters.
So like it's like our 2 buddies at work, and then said Fred, who's close with his ex-wife still. She knew about it because they still have dinner. They still had dinner once a week together. But they said that was probably their biggest mistake, other than not turning around when they got to the top of Little Haystack. But okay. It's starting to snow, and they're like, okay, it's just flurries, no big deal. Wind's 20 to 30 miles an hour, not anything out of this world by any stretch for that mountain. Let's start the traverse. So they start going across, and it's taking them 5.5 hours to get to the top. So what they thought was going to be the whole loop, they're not even halfway yet.
Oh my God!
So, but they got the stuff to be able to see in the dark and finish the hike in the dark if they need to. But we'll get to the major mistake that they
we're not even at the major mistake yet. Oh, no. My goodness.
So they start traversing. They haven't made it to Lincoln, which is the halfway point between...
Turn around, friends. Just turn the frick around.
So it's basically like, I think it's like 3/4 of a mile from top of Haystack to the top of Lincoln. And it's about 150 foot down, and then you're going up about 400 feet in elevation. Or about that, maybe. And then it's another, I think it's close to 3/4 of a mile from Lincoln to Lafayette, with a drop of 300 feet to another rise of 400 to 500 feet in elevation to get to the top of Lafayette. So they're halfway to Lincoln, and then it hits the storm, and it goes from cloudy, you're still below the cloud level, to full on whiteout, like they can't see their hands in front of their faces. The wind goes from 20 miles an hour sustained to 60 miles an hour sustained winds with gusts of 90 miles an hour. And the temperature drops from like 20 degrees to 0 degrees in 15 minutes.
This sounds like no fun.
And then it continues to drop until it is -60 that night.
Good gravy. Although, to be fair, you were in a very not quite as bad, obviously, but you were in a semi-similar situation on Cannon because you weren't sure what you were going to meet up there. So you did take your crampons. But...
I took my crampons. I never put them on, even though I could have, because the wind was blowing so hard, and the ice that formed on the tower, I was being pushed around like I was on a skating rink.
And that was in late September.
Yes. Late September. But the thing with Cannon is it's below the tree line pretty much the whole way. So and once I dropped 100 feet in elevation, I was out the worst of it, and it was just drizzly again. I did save a guy from wandering off the cliffs that day.
Yes, he was so proud because down in the flatter part where it was not crazy, trying to find you is also highly suspect.
Yeah, so we get these guys are there. It's total whiteout. Wind is gusting. Jason starts to have a bit of a panic attack.
Hey,
because he's never been in this kind of condition before in this scenario, and perfectly normal. Fred's Fred. He's like, okay, we're good. We're good, and he's one of those people that everyone always said he's a very good leader. He's a very good guide on hikes. He never pushes people beyond what they can handle, when they verbalize it.
I feel like there's a Maury story there, like
his children. They said, "I can't do it." They're halfway up the mountain. Okay, fine. We'll turn around today. No, never got angry. Never raised his voice. Never tried to harangue them or push them. Just yeah, okay. You're clearly at your limit. We'll go. Jason doesn't want to let his friend down, so he's been staying quiet as long as he can and letting Fred make all the decisions and not advocating for himself. So, minor mistake, but something that you can see happening. Well, they start. Fred says, "Okay, we're going to turn around and head back." They make it maybe 100 yards, and Jason's just like, "I can't do this."
Can't.
Okay.
I can't. What do you mean?
So Fred says, "Okay, we're going to find a place to shelter out of the wind," because that's what's really getting Jason is that beating wind. So he hops off the trail. Remember, this is a knife's edge ridge, so that it is basically sheer drop-offs on both sides. They're not quite cliffs. If you go to the side back towards the parking, there's major avalanche risks. Remember, you're above the tree line, and that's where the wind is constantly hitting. The other side, if you go down that ridge, you're in the Pemi Wilderness, and you now have a 10-mile hike to get out through waist-deep snow. So he's looking for a place to get out of the wind.
Worst nightmare. He
finds a small crawl space of a cave that they can both fit in. He goes back out, gets Jason, says, "Hey, follow me." And they look there. Okay, great. They get in. They had to do a lot of rearranging, but they're able to get in. All their clothes are wet. They pull clothes out of their backpacks. Those are soaking wet. So they're in a bad situation. Said temperatures dropping rapidly. They said it gets to -60, -65 that night with a wind chill.
Yuck.
Which, I don't know if a few people know this, but when it hits -20, it's just fucking cold. At that point, you don't really notice that. But you hit -40 to -60, that is like you will, if you're out exposed for too long, aka, a few hours, good chance you're going to die if you're not properly prepared. So this is where they made their major mistake that probably ends up killing Fred.
Oh, man.
They did not pack to spend the night. So no sleeping bags, no tents, nothing. They got their those space blankets, those little foil blankets.
Yeah, I love those.
They're
not going to do anything in the winter.
They will. They do work. You're not going to have a fun time. You're still going to be cold, but they will save your life. I know someone who's used one, and he swears
negative 60?
Not that cold, but he got stuck somewhere and had to use it and had a very cold night, but he's like, yeah, no, that thing saved my life.
Yeah, I know they work. I've used them, but not at negative 60 because I live in a house.
So Fred's able to block off the tunnel
or I find a hotel.
With his snowshoes to keep the wind out and the snow from blowing in. Problem is they have no insulation to basically give them padding from the rocks that they're laying on. So all their heat's getting sucked out of that, even if the air temp is raising a little bit, so it's not quite as cold, but it's also really humid, and now that humidity is making the condensation and it's dripping on them. So, again, Fred is very smart. He's having them get out every few hours and jump around outside just to keep moving a little bit. Again, nobody knows where... when they had left, when they were due back, but they're both due to work the next day.
Small miracles.
So they work for a bus company, so they get up very early in the morning. Unfortunately, they were also the first ones supposed to show up, and the rest of their crews weren't going to be till like an hour later.
Oh man!
Or 2 hours later.
It's a comedy of errors.
Pretty much, but they both survived the night. Fred stayed closer to the outside to we assume to help his friend, because he's the kind of person that he's gonna do everything he can to help that person. Next day, winds are still howling, still snowing like a bastard, but they're like, hey, we gotta go, we're out of food, our water froze.
You have no dry clothing, friends.
Yeah, no dry clothing. It's like, the wind is not slowing down.
I can't.
We just need to get out of here. We're too cold.
Let's watch Chucky instead of doing this.
So they leave the shelter and start heading back for Little Haystack. Well, at this point, outside world has realized, hey, there's something wrong. Fred didn't show up for the bus. The people that take his bus daily to commute down to Boston are like, hey, where's Fred? This guy's never been late on a day in his life. So they're worried. They're calling the bus company. The Jason, who was in charge of a manager of a bus company, they realize, hey, he's not, why is he not? And he's never missed a day in his life. So they start calling around to their buddies. And the buddy that knew that they were going to be hiking says, uh-oh. So they wait until about 10 o'clock before they contact Fish and Game.
Why?
Because that's how long it took to figure out, hey, these guys are still we think these guys might still be on the mountain. And so Fish and Game in New Hampshire does all the search and rescues for this sort of thing. It's their big calling. And on top of it, there are numerous search and rescue squads that work in different regions of the White Mountains. And it's all volunteer, and they jump in whenever there's a rescue that's needed. And on top of it, National Guard has a Black Hawk that flies out and rescues people also. And Fish and Game coordinates with them, and will put one of their officers on the helicopter. So another reason why no one knew they were missing is because of all that snow. All those car accidents, no one had bothered to plow the parking lot, and the car was completely buried in snow, so no one could see it. So because all night cops have been driving by, oh yeah, no tire tracks, we're good, but the car is literally buried. It's just a mound of white. Angst. So Fish and Game gets in the parking lot, realizes, yeah, there's Fred's car, and they set up the rescue operation. They get the helicopter going. They get multiple Fish and Game teams going. They get calling 2 or 3 different rescue groups to come in, and they start coordinating this major rescue effort. Now, the old guy that
was like, turn around?
Yeah, that was by himself. His son is on one of the rescue teams.
Oh dear God.
So the son just happened to call his dad and say, hey, I'm going on a rescue here. Your dad was like, oh yeah, I was there yesterday. I know who you're looking for. I talked to them. So they get a timeline of last seen now, which they didn't know. When Fishing Game first gets called, they don't even know if the guys have been up there since Friday or Saturday. It's now Monday, so they hiked Sunday, but they didn't know how long those guys have been up there. So they don't even know if it's like, is this even is this a recovery mission or a rescue mission? So they send up teams up all 4 paths that these guys could have taken. They send 2 Fishing Game officers into the
Pemi?
the Pemi on snowmobile, as far as they can go snowmobile, then snowshoeing the rest of the way.
Oh, that's awful.
To try to see if anyone walked down that. And they got the Black Hawk flying around doing a search grid. It is getting to be about sunset by the time the hiking crews can get up there, because they are breaking trail and to tree line. And they're like they're getting to the point where they're like, do we need to call this off and try again tomorrow, or do we push ahead? And the way they had done it going up the Falling Water Trail was 2 fishing game guys started breaking trail about noontime, and then the one of the rescue teams was going up behind them, and they caught up at that Shining Rock spot, so that those guys were fresh when they started breaking trail. And then you have 2 teams going up Bridle, and then another side trail that's rarely used, but they're like, we're going to cover all of our bases, and they basically don't get to the top, not to the top of Lafayette, but to the hut that's there, and they're getting ready to spend the night in the hut, except they can't find the keys.
Wait, what?
The Greenleaf Hut, or whatever it's called. Yeah, so
it's not just open?
No, they do close it up to keep people out. They have spent nights in there before, but for some reason no one had a key that time. They didn't really go into why. Anyway, so they're trying to decide what they're going to do. At this point, the Blackhawk's gone back for refueling, and they're probably going to call it a night because they did their grid and they can't find anything. We know that from the book that Jason and Fred have both collapsed right around the summit of Little Haystack, but they're off trail because they got, remember in Into Thin Air when they just started getting that goofy and just
the hypoxia.
Yeah. Well, when you get severe hypothermia, it's a similar kind of effect where you're so frozen that you can barely move, you can barely think, and you actually literally start taking clothes off.
I know that part.
And you're not able to think clearly, and you're just basically, your body's in survival mode and just kind of slowly wandering around. So the rescue team says, you know what, we're going to push to the top of Little Haystack just to get up there, just to get an idea of what's up there, see if there's any sign of these guys. And now it's dark. These guys can barely see. The winds have slowed down. It's down to about 50-mile-an-hour winds with 70-mile-an-hour gusts. Oh, I forgot to mention this. We kind of mentioned it, but Fred, who's lighter than Jason, at one point literally got picked up, moved 15 feet, and set back down by the wind. And it was like one of those things, like Jason thought it was funny, and Fred acted like he didn't even notice because they were so far gone at that point. But so these guys got their headlamps on. They go above tree line after switching up layers to stay dry and stay warm. And they start doing a quick search, and they find Fred. Fred is dead. He is frozen to death. They think basically he had been dead for 5-6 hours at that point. So about the time that they started the rescue. But they start. One of the guys notices a weird mound of snow another 100 feet away, and it turns out it's Jason, and he's semi-conscious. In Ski Patrol, we have the AVPU system where it's alert and aware, verbally aware, pain aware, and unconscious. So if I yell at you and you respond even with just a groan, you're verbally aware. If I have to give you a pinch or a sternum rub because the verbal thing didn't do it, that's pain awareness.
They do that in the pit all the time. Stay with me, stay with me.
And then if none of that works, you're truly unconscious.
Some of them can touch my sternum all they want.
Oh boy. Jason is able to make moans when they yell at him. So he is not truly unconscious, but basically unconscious, and his cord body temp is so low that he can't move. And I didn't realize this, but until reading this book, if you have severe hypothermia and someone picks you up, that could put you into a cardiac arrest.
Oh shit.
So every time they move you, there's a chance of you go into fibrillation or cardiac arrest. So these guys are like, okay, well, we got this guy, but we don't know how we're going to get this guy out. But it's like, if we have to hike him down, he's not going to survive for sure. Fish and Game finally shows up after they've took a break, and they catch up, and so they start trying to coordinate with the guy at the bottom that's running the whole show. He calls the Blackhawk, says, hey, do you guys think you can go back? We found someone, he's alive. And the crew's like, fuck yeah. And because they're just, they're badasses. All these guys, or most of the pilots, were both Afghan vets. So these guys are like, yeah, we got this. So they fly back out there. They're trying to find a place to land while still staying below the cloud level. Remember,
there's nowhere to land up there.
No, there isn't.
I haven't even been up there, and I know this.
So they're looking. They're trying to get as close to them as they can without that downdraft that helicopters do, throwing snow over them. They can't hit the peak for whatever reason because it's too far away, which is where they could have gone. Otherwise, is there is enough of a spot that they could have touched down there. Remember, it's 50-mile-an-hour winds with 70-mile-an-hour gusts.
Where's the basket?
There is no basket, and it's too windy to drop the winch down with the hook.
That was not in the movie The Guardian with my love Kevin Costner. They just dropped that thing down and then diver away.
Yeah. They do have a basket attached, but they did not use it. What the rescuers did was they put Jason into a bag, like
a bivvac.
Yeah, and to try to keep him semi-warm. They're using their own bodies as a windshield. Meanwhile, one of the fish and game guys, he's starting to get hypothermia because he had been sweating too hard and didn't change his layers out when they got to the tree line. And so they're looking. The Blackhawks looking for a place to land. They say, "Hey, there's a flatter spot here. I think we can hover there, but we can't land on it because there's trees poking through the snow, and we don't want to poke. We don't know how tall those are. We don't want to poke them through the bottom of the Blackhawk."
Good gravy.
Remember, the 50-mile-an-hour and 70-mile-an-hour gusts.
I'm going to tell them, just leave them. Just leave them.
So they point the nose of the helicopter into the wind, lower it down till they feel the tops of the trees touching the bottom of the helicopter.
I hope they were wearing their brown pants.
The one pilot said that was probably, out of all the combat missions where he was shot at, this rescue mission was the scariest he ever did.
Well, yeah, because it's a freaking tree. Like, the bullet goes away. The tree is just like, it hooks you.
And so they got one of the runners in the snow. Otherwise, everything else is in the air. The guy that's going to go out to tell the guys we're ready jumps out of the plane and sinks down to his chest.
Nope.
And he can't feel the ground.
They're next to a tree.
They're either in the trees. They don't know how tall the trees are. They just know. So when the snow falls like that, sometimes there's air pockets underneath the canopy. And so you jump out and you can literally fall into that air pocket and be trapped.
Let's just watch Chucky. It's going to have this same effect, man.
So he has to swim and hope he doesn't keep sinking down till he finds some packed snow to crawl back out. They get to Jason, get him in the helicopter, and they fly him to Littleton Hospital.
We've been by there.
Yeah, it is the preeminent hospital for cold rescues.
Yeah, I would imagine.
That is, if you have hypothermia, that is the place you want to go.
No, because remember, I am at the bar. You are now up there for however many hours. I am fending off the locals who want to buy me a drink, and I'm tempted to be like, yes, because his dumbass has made some poor choices in life, and I have allowed him to do this. Do you have a dog? Great, I'm yours.
Back to the story. So they get Jason in the hospital. His body temp is around 77 degrees.
Dear God.
It is, at that time, the coldest person that's ever survived hypothermia. They had one person that was at, I think they said 74 or 75 degrees. They were able to keep alive, but they were brain dead. So Jason holds, or at least held, the record at this point. And it's basically, again, everything you do, he could just go into cardiac arrest at any moment. They don't know brain function's going to be. So they get him stabilized, and then they bring in Dart, the Dartmouth-Hitchcock helicopter, to fly him to Dartmouth-Hitchcock to get him into their trauma center, because they are one of the top trauma centers in New England, the number one place in New Hampshire and Vermont.
Yeah, because there's nothing up there. There's nothing
So again, if you get a seriously hurt, it's either there or Concord Hospital, but I'd recommend there. Knowing several of the nurses and doctors there, that's the place to go.
Or, just stay at the bar, people. Come join me.
So, as I said, Jason ends up living. We'll get back to him in a little bit. But so the guys, they still got 10 people. Oh, they also flew the fish and game officer off, who was starting to get hypothermia, and he's
okay. Now, could they have put Fred in the basket?
They're trying to get out of there as fast as they can, because it would have taken another half hour, and the Blackhawk is basically running out of fuel. They have enough fuel to get Jason, fly to the hospital, and get back to base to refuel, or they're putting down in a random field or road or airport. So actually, I scratched that. They're able to go back for Fred, so they have enough fuel to get back to Fred, they think, and to get him and the rest of the hikers off, all the rescuers off, and drop them off in the parking lot at the base of the mountain and then go home. But basically, they didn't want to take any longer than they had to. Jason was the priority. He's like, hey, he's still alive. We got to get him to urgent care now because he could die at any second. So that's their priorities. Get him off, get the officer off who's having a bad day. And like these rescuers say, hey, this sort of thing happens. And all the volunteer rescuers are like, hey, we've all had to get rescued before. This isn't a, no hate on anybody. Even the two guys that, they were rescuing, they're like, hey, no, this happens. And these guys were clearly decent hikers. It's not like, in the summer, a lot of times you see these people.
They get so angry.
That are in flip-flops and baggy T-shirt and one of those plastic bottles of water. And they start their hike up at 3 p.m. and like, we're going to the top. I'm like, no, you're not.
Well, now they fine you.
Yeah, they did back then too. So Fish and Game has this thing where you can either buy a hike safe card, which is not expensive, like $15. And if you need to get rescued, they rescue you, no questions asked. They're going to rescue no matter what, but it's like they'll take use whatever resources to rescue you. I have a hunting license up there, so that pays for that. So I always get yelled at by my mom because I don't buy one. I'm like, I have a hunting license, I'm good. I've paid for it. It's part of my perks for.
Is it though?
It is. I looked it up. What I don't do is I don't carry a whistle, which people get mad at.
It's in your backpack.
I don't carry a whistle.
No, it's part of your clips.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
They started building them into the ones that go across your sternum.
Oh.
And so all you would have to do is just I'll show you.
Okay.
I have one on my backpack.
Okay.
I would guess you would do.
Okay. But so if you don't buy a hike safe card and you have a legitimate emergency, like you were properly prepared, but you had a slip and fall and broke your femur and they had to go out there and rescue you, and they might not charge you because they said, hey, accidents happen. You clearly came out here prepared. You have a first aid kit. You've done everything you can to stabilize yourself and get yourself down, and we'll get you down the rest of the way. If you're an idiot and just go up there in flip-flops and no water, and then you get 5 feet off the trail and freak out and call for help, guess what they're going to do? They're charging you for that rescue, and you're talking $15,000 to $30,000.
I would probably have to be fined because I would probably fall in a body of water if I left the trail.
Yeah, if you were doing something stupid, like jumping off of cliff faces, because you're like, yeah, that looks like fun. I think I can land that and break your leg.
There's sharp, pointy rocks at the bottom, people. Nobody reads books, so they don't know this.
If you're just a trail runner and you ran out of water and got dehydrated, they're probably going to charge you because they're like, hey, carry more water. Maybe don't run when it's 100% humidity and 90 degrees outside.
Isn't that just the White Mountains, though, in the summer?
Pretty much. That is the bane for me hiking, is that humidity. That when it's humid, I drag ass hard.
I almost want to get plastic to put on my seats when he comes back.
It looks like I've been swimming in the ocean.
The smell stays. He leaves, the smell stays.
Those hot tubs afterwards are amazing, though.
Ugh.
Yeah, so the helicopter gets Fred, gets the rest of the hikers, except for two, because two of the guys that were on the Lafayette side decided, we're going to try traversing this.
Dumb ways to die.
And they can see the rescue of Jason Osborne. They can see the rescue of the other hikers and the pickup of Fred. And they're like a half mile away, but nobody knows they're there.
Oh, my God. Oh, my
Not that the helicopter could have waited. So they finally got down around midnight. They were fine. Once they got to the top of Little Haystack, they had a pack trail to get down, and they were down in 2 hours. They're just like, and these guys were totally stoic about it. Like, yeah, we didn't get there. Not the end of the world. It would have been nice for a helicopter ride because we were starting to get sucking air in the tank there, but so we knew we were good. So Fred ends up living.
Wait, nope.
No, not Fred. Jason ends up living. Sorry.
Wait a minute. He just sort of popped out of the snow like a hun. Just kidding. Just kidding.
So yeah, Jason ends up living. He loses one leg, below the knee amputation, loses half of his other foot, loses a few fingers. So fairly, he got off easy, let's just call it.
Did he lose his little finger? What?
I know the joke.
What joke? It's not a joke. It's an illusion.
From James Bond.
Yes.
My little finger in my lips.
The only thing left of you was your little finger. That's because you know what I can do with my little finger. Anyway.
So yeah, he survives. He moved out west where it's nice and warm now, but he comes back. He actually relearned how to ski at Mount Sunapee through the NESA program, which teaches people with mental disabilities and missing limbs how to ski and ride. Amazing program. It's all volunteers. Definitely worth checking out. If you ever want to do that sort of thing, it's worth it. It's a good group of people. So he got big into that program until he moved out west. He's actually talked to a few people I know because he wanted to go back a few years later, try it again.
No. Exposure therapy does not have to be do the same thing.
He has gone back to hiking. He's big into cycling now. Apparently he got married and he's now a grandfather. So go him.
The timeline hurts there. I'm not going to math right now. Sorry. It's too late.
Okay.
Too late.
I won't make it. He could have been married before. I don't know. It's
okay. So we're just missing some information,
yeah.
maybe. Okay. I can't. The math's not mathing. Anyway.
But yeah, so it's not the happiest story, but very good information and very exciting. It doesn't read. It reads like a survival guide more than a.
So it's less into thin air and more.
Yeah, it has a narrative, but it's again the author. It's all based off interviews the author did. So you have a lot of breaks for getting the weather report at Mount Washington, saying what the wind and temps are and all that stuff. You have all the reports from the rescuers and interviews from them. You have interviews from Fred's ex-wife and their sons. So it doesn't read like a standard novel-esque story.
Is there a shrine on the trail?
For Fred?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No. There is... I think there is a thing for No, there isn't because there is one on Washington for all the people that have died, and they're thinking about putting one on Lafayette. At least at the time this was written, which I forget when that was, but it's around COVID, I think.
But you did that post COVID.
Yeah. But they I know Washington. Fred's ashes were spread on Washington because that was one of his favorite places in the world to be. His wife and children brought him up there for him, so very sweet. So yeah, that's The Last Traverse by Ty Gagne. Any questions, Becky? Any comments?
How is it that the men of this species have dominated the world when they do shit like this?
Because we take risks,
and
you stay in the bar.
Though.
It was a risk.
That's a risk to stay in the bar because I've seen those locals. Okay, you have not seen those locals. But I have.
How have I not seen those locals?
Because you go out in the mountain for those 5 to 8 hours, whereas I still need to eat and do something. Because I can only be at the beach for so long before people look at me weird and sad. They're like, look at that old lady.
All by yourself, reading a book, talking to the old men out there.
No, I did not need to. He was, no, yuck.
Telling you about his African queen.
Please stop. He did. He missed her so bad.
He was in love.
He could have stayed in love elsewhere. Not told me. Oh man.
He could have been his New England queen.
No.
So you good?
I don't know. That's a lot to process.
It is a lot of processes.
You just trauma dumped on me.
I'll wait till the next one.
Oh God. Okay, so I forget what his name is, but I read his book. So he was on the same horrible trip that Rob Hall died on Everest in '96. Forget what his name is. But he wrote a memoir about hiking and doing Everest, and then he did the 14 tallest peaks and whatnot, and this, that, and the other thing. And one of the things that has always stuck out to me is that getting to the top, a lot of people seem to think that's the end, but it's not. It's getting down. So when I drop you off and I go and do my thing, whether it's the beach or I go on my own hike where you don't actually know where I'm going.
Nope. Just waiting for someone to say, yes, this lady got attacked by a bear. We don't know what's going on. We don't know who she is. Her ID's missing.
It was soft. I just needed a hug. No, just kidding.
Yeah, you rage hike. That bear wants nothing to do with you.
It does not. Be like, get the hell away from me, bear. But why do you think? So these were experienced people. Why was that forgotten?
It wasn't forgotten. They got.
It seems like it was, though.
No, they were goal oriented, where they said, we have to finish this hike. We have to finish the traverse and go down.
But that seems to me that they forgot that thing.
They're not forgetting that the going down bit. That they have that planned out. That's basically they felt like they had to finish the hike that they set out to do, and that's a problem a lot of people have. That's a problem that I know I have.
Dear
where,
God, yes.
If I'm not going to be able to summit that mountain, it is tough.
He's cranky. Take him, somebody. He needs friends. I'm going to hike by myself because I rage hike.
Hey, I have a friend that's going to do the last hike with me for the 48.
Is it your child? Because that doesn't count.
No, both children have said, fuck no.
They did not actually say that word. Because
I think they have.
Not to you, in that context.
No, in this context, for this, when I say, let's go do this last hike, let's go do that. Basically, this hike that these guys had, and this is going to be my last hike.
I know.
And I asked the girls if they would do it with me, and it's come down to fuck no.
Those are my babies growing up in saving China.
But yeah, so I do have. He's flaky, so he probably won't show up, but it's probably too early for him too.
I don't think they remembered that rule. Yes, it's okay to be goal oriented and whatnot and to feel like you have to do something, but when every other person is heading down the mountain and you planned this to take 5.5 hours, you're not even at your first goal point. You forgot that it's coming down is.
I said I don't think they forgot the coming down. I think that was still in their minds. I think it was maybe they're underestimating the going down bit, because like once that blizzard hit, the Jason would have been in a lot of trouble. They would have been spending the night below tree line, so they would have been able to build a shelter essentially and stayed warmer. But they also had no way to start a fire, so that would have been a problem.
This is just bad planning from beginning to end. Mm-hmm. Like honestly, both of them are. Well, Jason is very lucky.
Mm-hmm. But again, I think it said the author was basically saying it was a combination of a couple biases, but the big one that got them where they were was we have to finish this hike, therefore we have to do this traverse above tree line. If they just got to a little haystack and said, okay, let's go down, even if they got caught in that blizzard, which they probably both most likely would have survived. I mean, and it would have been pain, and they would, at that point you could say, yeah, they did not plan downhill well enough because they're trudging through knee-deep snow in a whiteout condition where they can't find the trail. Because like the rescuers, they kept losing the trail because they're not well marked. That's the other thing in these White Mountains. They're not usually well marked. They're just paths in the woods, and
it's a hope and a prayer. I
took a wrong turn on Owl's Head going down.
And I get the stubbornness. I get that, no, it has to be done X way. But the big rule is to come down the mountain. Breathing, conscious.
Is it though?
You know what? First you got to go at work, and then there has to be evidence, and then I'll ship you to those mountains where you can finish your peaceful rest.
Yeah, I'll just go up there and disappear. It's okay.
If you make me wait 7 years, I will find you.
No, you won't.
I have a very specific set of skills. I also am really, really good friends with a bunch of people who will find you.
No, they won't. Challenge accepted.
He has no idea.
Challenge accepted. Anyways, so yeah, that's the book. Thanks for listening. We have an Instagram, Kendall Bookworms, or at Kendall Bookworms. We have a Gmail account, kendallbookworms@gmail.com. We're on Facebook, Kendall Bookworms.
I think you should just make a note card so you can just read this. Make a checklist. Like, okay, we are on A, B, C, D places, all under Kendall Bookworms. And then I have a medium, and Alex has a medium, but we're not called Kendall Bookworms on the medium.
Yeah, we go by our names on that because it's two separate mediums. So look me up. We have a link tree that you can hop onto to get to all of our stuff.
Oh my gosh, they have a link tree now?
I have a link tree. Yeah, you knew this. You
Did
were
I?
excited when I announced that we had a link tree. It's on our. I usually put a link to the link tree on the description. It's also on our Instagram. You can find all of our links. The mediums. If I or Alex get 100 reads on any of our articles, the other one has to read the book, and we do a bonus episode. Folks, at the time of recording this, we will probably be over. Alex will have to have done one of the books. We got like 5 more reads to go. So
I can't.
So good job on you guys. We got 2 other ones that are going up quick. So hop on there. You want to look for Ireland by Delaney or Complicity by Ian Banks. Read those articles. Don't just open it. You got to read them because we have an open rate and a read rate. So you got to read them. But
just scroll, kids. Just scroll. Let me tell you the middle school tricks. Just scroll. Yes, I read that.
So, anyways, if we can get these books above 100, Alex's books that he is writing about are smut books, so we can ignore him.
Don't insult the smut books. Maybe the particular kind of smut.
Yeah, yes, the particular kind of smut he is reading. We can ignore his medium, unless if you're really interested.
I've learned a lot about Alex because of these books.
Alex has some books for sale. They're on Amazon. Becky, what are the books called? Do you know?
Again, this is why you need the card.
This is a quiz.
There's Ragnarok.
Yeah. Paul Plimpton versus Ragnarok and the
Destroyer series.
Yeah. And he is on a mission to get the second book republished for that series, the Shelter. So let's get on his butt.
Aren't we at like the 5-year mark? So he needs to do an anniversary edition.
Yeah, well, he has until November to get it out.
There we go, Alex.
So yeah, it's the gauntlet was thrown, and he's on a timetable now. And so yeah, that is our show. Becky, any last words?
I want to be on a beach where it's warm.
Okay, well, this has been Kendall Bork. Thanks for joining us.
Bye, worms.